Hey guys, welcome to La Bella Vita. I am Dana, your host and founder of Bullies Keep Out. Today we are here with Ray Anderson, aka Mr. Ray. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for asking me, Dana.
My pleasure, no problem. So I'm going to start just talking a little bit about what you do. You have quite the resume. You've been Billboard Magazine's 2013, 2014 top 10 best-selling kids artist. You've worked with artists that are just completely sensational, such as Bruce Springsteen, Meatloaf, John Bon Jovi. You're selling well over 100,000 children's albums worldwide. But I know that today we're talking about something special that you're doing, a collection of songs called No Room for Bullies. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that and how that got started?
About 5 years ago, there was the horrendous suicide of Tyler Clementi here at Rutgers. I live right down the street from Rutgers University. I live in Highland Park. I think everybody knows somebody was video recording him. I think it was his roommate, having relations with another guy and put it on the internet. And he took his life off the GW Bridge, and that really affected me, just hearing about that. And a little bit after that, my niece was abused physically and verbally abused by her then boyfriend at a college. That's my sister's daughter. And it just mortified our whole family. And so those two things, that was the impetus for me starting to write about this. It's funny, like making music for kids, parents always say, Mr. Ray, why don't you do a lullaby album? All songs about lullabies. And I was always like, I want to do one theme, like 10 or 12 songs about one thing. But bullying is a different story because within that umbrella, you have diversity, teaching tolerance and all that. So I embraced this project and the writing of it. So it's been a passion project, something I've worked on in between all my other goings-on for about 5 years now. So I finally finished it, and it feels like sending a kid off to college. Kind of in mourning now, it's like, anyway, but that's a long-winded answer. So.
Yeah, no, we'd love to hear all about that type of stuff, and I think what you're doing is great. And, I know a lot of people use music. It's very emotional. It speaks to a lot of people. Words are very important. Though words can be harsh, good words can do a lot for people. People pull inspiration and hope from, all types of places, music, television, people they look up to. So that's great that you're doing that. And, now, have you ever yourself encountered any bullying or personally or anything like that, even younger or?
I was a stick. I was so thin, and kids used to make fun of me, calling me skinny and stuff. In fact, all these 21 years singing to little kids, I have a dinosaur song, and I always set it up where saying that, when I was young, kids used to make fun of me, and they say, you can't play with a skinny. Is that nice? And, it's like 3, 4, 5-year-olds. They go, no, Mr. Ray, it's not nice, And I said I used to imagine myself as a dinosaur and give them a big roar, and they would run away, and that's called standing up for yourself. So I started a long time ago, the seeds of this project. Now it's just more literal. But, yeah, to answer your question, and I always had long hair, but that was self-induced because I wanted long hair, so the price, but so anyway, those two things.
Okay. I think we all encounter, some form of it, whether it's from relationships or friends or in school or even as adults in the workplace or spouses even or our partners. I mean, I just think I don't really think anybody has ever escaped it completely. So it's very true. I mean, it not only for kids, but any age really. Now I know some of the pictures that you shared for me when I had shared them on Instagram. Do you go around to schools and whatnot? Because I know some of the pictures you gave me, you had like a giant crowd of kids and they looked like they were really loving what you were doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do during the week. I do a lot of assemblies. Again, it's really been up to only third grade.
Right.
So what I'm starting in the fall are like fourth and fifth grade assemblies because they get them. That's really who I wrote it for, kids fourth grade and up.
Right.
Say like 9 and up, 8 and up. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's what I do during the week. I go to all schools, and I'm going to actually talk about bullying. Not too much. I mean, I don't want to be like ponderous and have the kids roll their eyeballs like, oh my God, who's this guy? I don't want to preach or anything, but
Right.
I'm definitely going to do more than just sing songs.
Right.
So yeah.
No, that's great. I think that when you integrate music and talking, it's something to keep their attention. When you're working with kids, you got to hold their attention, and they don't want to just hear somebody talk, talk, talk. I incorporate a lot of humor when I do things, even though you're talking about something serious, because you want to make people laugh, but you want to get a point across.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And, in your own words, why do you feel that music works well for this type of cause?
Well, just what you said, it's my bridge. It's our bridge as musicians, as songwriters, instead of just talking. And that's great. There are people that are so inspiring when they talk, and they don't need music. That's their language. My language is music, and sometimes I hear myself talking when I play back stuff, and it turns me off. I sound like I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand my talking voice. But it's usually the reverse with most people. They can't stand themselves singing. They hear
Right.
themselves recorded. Not that I love to hear myself singing either, but I mean, So yeah, to answer your question, that's my bridge. And in this collection of songs, formerly known as a CD.
Who uses those anymore? Oh my God, a CD.
I just ordered CDs. It just sounds so archaic saying it too. I just ordered CDs the other day because I just need some at my merch tables because parents buy. I'm in one of the last genres where parents still buy, physical product for their kids in cars. Not everybody's hooked up. They're not Bluetooth savvy. A lot of parents, as young as they are these days, it's still like, so I didn't order a lot, but I ordered some, and hopefully I'll get rid of them, but yeah, it was a tough choice.
No, that's awesome. I think with the age group that you're working with and you're looking for, I think that they still, it depends. Every parent, it depends if they're old-fashioned or
Right.
if they're modern, whether they're still, I doubt there's 8, 9-year-olds walking around with iPods, but you never know these days, so I don't want to say.
I did a lot of field research, and I asked a lot of parents before I put in that order for CDs. 99.9%, Mr. Ray, it's all downloads. It's all iTunes. It's all streaming on YouTube to listen. I ran a really nice Kickstarter campaign, and I owe like 300 backers CDs as a reward. Just making it for them. I'm not kidding. I made just a few after that to sell. Like I said, at my merch tables for parents that have older kids,
Right.
Besides the kids that they're bringing to my shows,
Right.
in the hopes that maybe they'll pick it up for the kids 8 and up. So I'm not kidding you. It's no CDs for those kids.
Wow, yeah. No, well, you could always also put the CD into iTunes, and then they could always download it to whatever they have. So it works either way.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now, are you thinking, do you have your music on iTunes and all that stuff? Yeah?
Thanks for asking. Yeah. You just type in Mr. Ray or No Room for Bullies, and it comes up. And I'm working on my third video. It's a song called Different. It's about another song about diversity, and I'm really excited about it. But the one coming out August 14th is called The Rainbow World,
Mm-hmm.
and that specifically addresses all the wonderful different types of kids we have.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that. I love music. I'm a big music person.
I love what you do, too. I totally scoured your site. No, I did. I did my homework, and you're an amazing person. You do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when you actually, because one of my BKO advocates, Laura, and it was it was funny. Well, I love to connect like that. I always tell them, I said, if you have anybody and you know anybody doing something amazing, send them my way. I love to collaborate, work with people. So I was excited, and I was happy that, she connected us, and that was great.
The same way, Dan.
Thank you. Now, one question I have is, I know, when you make these songs, you come up with your own lyrics and all that stuff. Where do you have a certain place that you pull your inspiration from, or where does it come from when you're writing your lyrics? Like, what do you, everybody, I know some musicians have this, there are things that they do and places they go to, like, write songs, or they have to be alone, or they meditate, or whatever it is that they do to, like, get there.
No, it's just, you don't have to look any further than just hopping online, going somewhere and seeing, as you know, half a dozen Bully stores coming up in newsfeed on Facebook or wherever, and I just always had a sensitivity for kids that really, I was bullied, but nothing like what other kids go through and pay the ultimate price, unfortunately. So I don't have to look that far. It was a collaborative effort with 3 amazing rap artists, hip-hop artists, that for the first time I worked with in that genre. And that also is another bridge to this age group, because hip-hop is really the new rock and roll. And as I have stated before, to me it doesn't sound gratuitous. I think it sounds pretty organic, the hip-hop that's within my songs. Almost every song has it. 3 friends of mine did it, and they came up with just amazing lyrics that just work seamlessly within the songs.
That's great. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what type of genre it is that you use, or do you incorporate different type of genres in your music, or?
Yeah, it's basically under the rock umbrella, but you can hear some urban, and there's a lot of acoustic guitar in it, but I do use beats and loops, but there's definitely real drums in there, and real guitars and stuff. But yeah, a friend of mine heard it, and he goes, dude, this sounds like a Michael Jackson album. I'm like, what? It's because it's got this scope that's bigger than anything you've done. Like almost Quincy Jones collaborated with you. Not that I'm anywhere in those guys, stratosphere, but it made sense to me when he said it, just because, Michael had that global thing, and of course I'm trying to reach a lot of kids, and again, without sounding too gratuitous. Anyway, so that was an interesting comment. Yeah.
No, that's great. When you can have people that are, can compare you to that, and you're reaching people on that level. That's really that's amazing. It's an amazing feat, and it's you're obviously making great strides. The kids are responding well to you, as you said, and they're responding to the music. And have you gotten any interesting feedback from parents and kids? Have they came up to you and said anything specific, or something that really struck a chord with you?
What you mean as far as listening to this and stuff?
Yeah, like listening to your music, or when you're at the schools.
Well, the Bully music, I have not performed any of it. I've only done a few songs at my daughter's day camp here in Highland Park. To her age, she's 10 and a half. But really, no one has really heard it yet. It's just so brandy new. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. And I've gotten feedback from just people that have bought it on iTunes and just on my Facebook page and my website. One kid who's I think he's mid-20s. He said it really helped him, and I was like, really? Mid-20s? I'm like, tell me. Because it just gave me the strength to meet some of my demons, with people, the kind of crap that people have been giving me. I've lived with it my whole life as far as being bullied. He didn't say what for, and it wasn't my business to ask him. But it really touched me that he said that. Somebody in the mid-20s too. So we shall see. All I know is that it's an honest project, and I'm just putting it out there. And if it helps anybody, that's great. So
that's incredible. Yeah, like I said, music, I think, even if it's geared towards a certain age group, there's no telling the age you can reach. And if you can help somebody in their 20s, 30s, if a song like I said, I think that music speaks to people in so many different ways. I've heard so many things about it, like when people talk about music, they're like, oh, I love this song because it reminds me of this, or I love this song because there's just so much passion involved in it. And so I think that coming at this cause and that perspective and what you're doing is just really, really cool and awesome, and I think the kids are going to really respond and love it. So, I can see how you're nervous, but I think it's something that you should also be, excited about, too,
Yeah. And the videos, I have this great guy, from Brooklyn, this young director. He did my first video called the title track, No Room for Bullies, and that claymation, better known as, it's stop motion,
Yeah.
and it looks like just it's like a clay thing where there's two kids in a hallway just bullying another boy, and he did a great job, So the videos, that's obviously my tethering to the age group, because it's almost like the early days of it when MTV played videos and stuff. Kids really need a video now as a vehicle for their
Oh,
music.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's a good visual. I think a lot of kids are visual, so that's good that you incorporate that into it. Now, I always like to ask everybody this because it's just there's so many different types of answers and the diverse answers that you get, and people love to hear what everybody have to say. If you had to give advice to kids or anybody, or like you said, you've dealt with it personally and within your family and whatnot, what would you say for people who are struggling, or to kids who are struggling, or if somebody asked for your advice? I mean, what's something that what's wisdom that you would pass on?
Well, this sounds really pretentious, but one of my song titles is called "Don't Keep It to Yourself," and it's about a girl who's getting abused by her boyfriend, and just is afraid to keep it in. And bullying comes in all forms, like you said, boyfriends, girlfriends, and, within families, at school. And that would be my number one thing, is just to try to rise above it, because not telling someone else, keeping it inside, even if you're too afraid to confront the person who's creating that darkness for you, just don't be afraid to tell somebody else, no matter what the consequences are, because you may harbor that darkness so deeply that it could lead to, the thing we don't want to happen, which is somebody taking their life, So that's what I would say. Just don't keep it to yourself, share it with somebody.
Absolutely. Speak out, stand up. Now, I know we've talked a little bit about, you've mentioned some of your future projects. Is there anything else that you have planned that you haven't mentioned that you could talk about that you're working on or going to be doing?
No, I mean, it's just, this is my immediate future, just pounding the pavement with this anti-bullying message. And, I still do my other things for younger kids, and it's like my bricks and mortar, my business, just my young music. But for the foreseeable future, this is it. As far as kids' music goes, I have my hand in other things. I mentor kids in my home recording studio, like 12 and up. I don't teach, but I like to invite kids that have some kind of writing ability and kind of call it out of them, and then we write together, or they write all by themselves, and their parents come over here with them, and parents are hiring me to do whole CDs with their kids. So I love doing that. I love seeing a kid's face first time they hear themselves, like through really cool speakers, what they've created. It's great.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, that really is cool. Well, I mean, I think you're doing great things. Congratulations. It all sounds wonderful. Tell me one more time your websites and where they can find. I know you mentioned iTunes, but I know you have websites where they can find all this information, and I'm going to also put it with the interview under it. But and then where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, it's noroomforbullies.org. That's my that's the Total Bully Project. My overall site is just mrray.com. So if anybody has little kids as well, they can find all my music there for kids 2 to 7, and then the bully stuff, mrray.com. And then you can always find me at Mr. Ray Music on Facebook. Like that. So.
And on Twitter, you're at Mr.
Yeah. Twitter's Mr. Ray Music. Yeah.
At Mr. Ray Music. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again so much. It was really a pleasure, and I love talking to you. And I can't wait to, find out more about what you're doing and see your work.
Thank you. Let's keep in touch and maybe work on something together in the future.
Absolutely, I would love it. I'm always looking to collaborate and partner with people, so that's definitely a must.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with Mr. Ray, and be kind and love big.